All right, and we're back on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, home of conservative talk radio, with On the Record with Kevin and Tiffany. Hey, where our politics is B1, Black first, because we know if we help ourselves, other people get the benefit from that. All right, so we just talked about all of the different things that are that impact us as the American descendants of the formerly enslaved, right? So let's talk going forward. What are some of the things that we can do to change these things, right? As an NOI person often says, hey, the white man can only do so much to us, right? At some point, we've got to stand up and we've got to take control of our own lives. So what do we do going forward with that? What are some solutions that you see, Dr. Salas?
We got to keep on fighting, number one. We got to keep on demanding that Black studies be taught in schools. Mm-hmm. We got to keep on demanding that things that are being taught that are untrue be looked at, mm-hmm. be dissected, and the truth in the education system must come forward. I don't think they can put that genie back in the bottle. They're trying real hard to do that, as Reggie pointed out. The governor and other people in different states, they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle. It's too late. We're not going to let him put it back in the bottle. We're going to keep. I told some students one day, they approached me and they said that they were told, and this was at a high school in Alabama, they sent me an email and said that they were removed, their program, their Black history program was removed because it was concentrating too much on slavery. They asked me, what would you do? I said, I'd go buy a bullhorn, take up a donation, buy a bullhorn, and teach Black history on the sidewalk in front of the superintendent's office or in front of the governor's office, and do that. Get some people to volunteer to teach that class. We're going to keep teaching it whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think you should change by voting. Vote these same dudes and these same people that had this ideology. Vote them right out of office. Get them out of there. Then vote the people that see like you see things and the correct way. I mean, you could see you have two different ideologies, but you can't erase something that already happened. You can't. That's not. I don't know how to put it, but you just can't say that this didn't happen. And I don't want my kids to know that this happened. Why you don't want your kids to know that it happened? Because your kids might look at you in a different way and be like, oh, now I see why you trying to suppress these people. Why you trying to do this, make this happen for these people because of what happened with your ancestors, what they did, So a lot of white kids now, starting to, and they have, even when rap music came out, I mean, you have more white kids buying rap music than Black kids.
Yeah.
And I don't think parents like that, So they not only trying to stop the past from happening, but they trying to stop their kids from carrying our legacy into the future.
Yeah, and for me, the importance around that is that it's important to understand history, because right now, that generation of people who are enslaved. I had a second great grandmother who died in 1954. Right, who was born a slave, right? And so that generation kind of died off. Now the generation of people who experience firsthand, Jim Crow and apartheid in America, that generation is passing away, right? So that Jim Crow was an insulting process. Right. It insulted your very being in essence, that you, because you are a descendant of the formerly enslaved, you have some type of African descendancy, you're not good enough. And everything in society reinforces that. I just remember as a kid coming through the 70s, not having the paradigm to understand, like, why do these people feel this way? Why do they consider me less than? Right. And not getting that. Right. And so that's the part that people fail to get, that when you look at the history books, there's only a thin chapter about Black people's contribution to American history. Mm-hmm. I always laugh at this, right? Because my kids came and they had a picture of George Washington Carver, right? Peanut. He made peanuts. He grew peanuts. And I laugh about that because they will bring him up in history, but won't bring up the man who hired him, right? The man who hired him, Booker T. Washington, right? Mm. And there's controversy around Booker T. Washington. I get that, right? But why not bring him up? He actually participated in establishing Tuskegee, right? Now, good, bad, indifference, a lot of smart black people came out of that, right? They won't tell you that, hey, also after 1865, there were land grants set up. That's where some of the first black universities were established, right? They rob you of that. They completely rob you of that. And it's not the fact, let's tell black history, let's include black people in the telling of the American story. Right? Include us, that our achievements aren't simply just, oh, you know, Reggie, you got a little bit of something. Dr. Salas, you achieved a little bit of something. Hey, we came literally, as the rapper said today, from the bottom. A generation, we came from the bottom. Now we're doing better. And the other thing that annoys me, right, is post-Civil War. Right. Let me tell you, when you look at the statistics that were gathered by W.E. Du Bois, right, black people were doing well. Black people, in the words of today, they were killing it. They were doing well. Don't tell me we can't compete. We can, right? I know we can compete because I compete every day, right? And this ties over into what we're talking about in terms of medical apartheid, is when you talk with people, some of the beliefs that these individuals in the medical field have is they're atrocious, and you see it in the numbers, and then people want to gaslight us, and then the processes we have to go through to correct those that is infuriating as you get involved in the process. So, you know, going forward, what do? We get in the process. We get in the mix politically and around the policies, and we're uncompromising around that. That's my solution. And it don't matter which side you're on. I know in the past people go, hey, you said you want 80% of people to join the Republican Party. I would like 80% of black people right now to join the Republican Party. So we go in large numbers and I can smash some of these people that I encounter every day. That's what I would want, right? But we are representing from a black first mindset of what is better for us as black people, and building coalitions of people who will also benefit from it. That is, and from my viewpoint, the path forward. Sorry on that, guys.
Real quick, Kevin, and all of what we said here today is not anti-white.
It is not.
It's not against white people. Well, because there are white people who refuse to be men of the times. There were white people like John Brown, who was a man above the times. Mm-hmm. So not everybody who was white believed in slavery. And so some white folks need to get some other heroes, because the heroes some of them got are worthless. Andrew Jackson, worthless. John Brown, a hero.
Yeah.
You know, Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, she ought to be studied. You know, and so they don't have, they don't have enough good heroes. They got a bunch of negative ones, that's for sure. But all of what we said here today is not against white people, because there were some white people who fought against slavery, and they need to be told. That story needs to be told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ulysses S. Grant, right? Which, if you go back and you look at the historical record on him, you see black people had huge pictures of him in their home, right? Because Ulysses S. Grant actually had the opportunity. He inherited a slave, and he freed them. He had the equivalent of about, $40,000-$50,000 that he could have gotten just simply by selling that individual. But he freed him. He believed. And if you get the chance, go to the Library of Congress and read Ulysses S. Grant's his memoirs and his letters to his wife back and forth, right? And then in 1872, he sent troops to Colfax to put down a rebellion against the Union that they slaughtered hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of black people and white people who were fighting to establish the American dream. Ulysses S. Grant is that hero. Now, Schertz, the town of Schertz is actually named after a person who refused to listen to Jackson and actually go in and interview and follow up on the claims that black people were making in 1867-68 about being abused by the local white supremacy groups. And he brought back a full report on that. That's a hero, right? Ulysses S. Grant. These are things that we can highlight.
Other Germans in the Hill Country who opposed the Confederacy. They fought against the Confederacy.
Exactly.
Of course, not all of them, but ones who were above the times, they fought against the Confederacy. So, and there was a bunch of them too, and they hated them. They massacred several Germans on the Nueces River. who fought against Robert E. Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, we could go on and on, but the path moving forward is to remember our history, right? To remember that we stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on the people who actually were abused physically, mentally, right? That we stand on the shoulders of those people, and so that we can go forth and engage in the political process, right? And our politics should be one. When people ask me, they say, "Hey, you're in the Republican Party." Yeah, I am. What about it? It's generally my attitude, right? But my politics is always black first. What will benefit black people? And I know that if it benefits black people, other people will also benefit from it. That's just the natural evolution. How everyone benefits from being educated about kidney disease and its origins and what needs to be done and the medications that are available. You know, those things tie into American exceptionalism, and they're not anti-white. They're simply saying, let's include others into the American story as it's being told.
I guarantee you that if black people bombard and start joining up the Republican Party, a whole lot of white people gonna fall out and create a whole nother different party.
I would love it. Let me tell you right now, if I could get more black people in the Republican Party who vote in the primaries, right?
Yeah,
we would make a huge change, right? And they would say, what are you? I'm B1. That's what I am, right? I'm here to make it better for black people. And I know if I make it better for us, it'll be better for everyone else, because we have always been the minimal standard of treatment for everybody else. You know, I don't necessarily like that role, but since, you know, we have it and other people have done it, you know, I could have really used a lot of us last week. As we fight through this process. All right. You've been listening. Go ahead, Reggie.
You got Texas, boy. You better be careful, man. You ain't gonna be able to get no more water burgers.
I always tell people, hey, if you're a clown and you want to come to the Smith house and throw down, hey, we're an AR carrying family around here.
Hey, you ain't by yourself.
They have gun control. Let a whole lot of black people start going by AR-15s. I guarantee you they have some gun control there.
And you've been listening to On the Record with Kevin and Tiffany on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, home of conservative talk radio.